Welcome back to my channel, Ragamuffins. My name is Raggyrog, and today I want to talk to you guys about Gimmighoul, and more specifically, what is wrong with Gimmighoul. Now, this whole video is not just going to be me bashing on everything I hate about Gimmighoul. I'm going to preface right now that I think that Gimmighoul is a really good idea. And the problem is that the good idea is not deliberated upon appropriately. Allow me to get into it. If you're unaware, Gimmighoul is a new Pokemon released in the new Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and he is, for all intents and purposes, based on a Mimic. If you are unaware, a Mimic is a mythical creature from many video games and Dungeons and Dragons and whatever, and it feels weird to explain this because I feel like everyone knows what a Mimic is. It is a monster that resembles typically a chest, but it can make itself look like anything. So the treasure chest is typically what you think of when you think of a Mimic. But if you get into it in like Dungeons and Dragons, then that a Mimic can literally look like anything. It can be the chair you're sitting on, it can be a ladder that you climb, it can be a book in a library, it can look like whatever it wants to look like. Gimmighoul is a Pokemon who is literally based directly on a Mimic, and the thing about Mimics is there's a whole mythos and a generalization. There is a standard, if you will. Over the years, there have been many different kinds of Mimics, and there have been many representations thereof. But the same tropes seem to always generally apply. Typically, when you see a Mimic appear in a video game or something like that, you know that what it is a Mimic. You don't need someone to explain it to you, usually. And that's exactly the case with Gimmighoul here, is you see a Pokemon who is actually inside of a treasure chest, and you wouldn't have known it was a Pokemon otherwise. It's a Mimic, right? And it's true. Even his Pokedex description actually matches a typical Mimic backstory. As it says here, this Pokemon was born inside a treasure chest about 1500 years ago. It sucks the life force out of scoundrels who try to steal the treasure. So that's a Mimic, pretty much. And if you need more evidence than that, well, I can't help you. In any case, I think Gimmighoul is a good idea. It's a wonder that 8 gens in, we didn't already have a Mimic Pokemon, because Mimics are cool, and it's a good idea, and everything on paper about Gimmighoul is just mwah, perfect. I wouldn't change a thing. But now here are my gripes with Gimmighoul. Now, the thing is that we talk about him appearing in the chest, and he does look like what a Pokemon would look like if a Pokemon were to be based on a Mimic, so he's got that going for him. But the thing is when you actually play through Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, right out of the gate, there's already an existing side quest, if you will, where you have to go around and kind of collect Gimmighoul coins, which are coins that are held by a Gimmighoul and are coveted by them and whatever. While walking around the world, you will encounter, albeit very small and hard to see, Gimmighoul just out and about carrying his coin, and you go up to them and you collect their coins, and yeah, it's all part of like a bigger thing. But the thing is that this is going to be where most players encounter Gimmighoul for the first time, and that means that the first time they're going to encounter him, he's not even going to have the chest. This is what is called his roaming form, so he's got his regular form and then he's got his roaming form, and when he's in his roaming form, well, there you go, he's roaming, he is not with the chest, yada yada. The point I'm making is that a Pokemon that is supposed to be based on a Mimic, its first appearance, or first time being seen, should probably have the defining Mimic feature, that is the chest, or at the very least, he should be seen resembling something else. I'm reminded of Rotom when he makes his first appearance in Diamond and Pearl. You go into the Haunted Manor, the Chateau, whatever it's called, and you have to actually like explore that place. You have to go into rooms, you have to find secrets and pick up items and whatever, and then you have to leave. And then you come back later and you investigate the TV set that was really suspicious the first time you came here. And then you find Rotom. Now, what if our first exposure to Gimmighoul were something like that, where you had to go into a haunted mansion or a crypt or a cemetery or something where you might find a chest, and you have been told before coming in here that there is a secret treasure to be found. So you look around, you encounter a bunch of new Pokemon, you pick up some items, you get a bit spooked out, and then you find the chest, and ta-da! It's actually Gimmighoul. Now, before people get their panties in a twist, oh, if I've been following the trailers, then I'm already gonna know that it's obviously gonna be Gimmighoul. Ah, but then they can do a sneaky on you. You're expecting to find a treasure chest, and then you find something else. Like you'll find the aforementioned ladder, or you'll find a cauldron, something, and then you find Gimmighoul inside of that. And that would be a cool surprise, and that is why I should work for Game Freak. I would consider this execution of a mimic Pokemon to be wasteful, because the idea in and of itself is brilliant. It's like I said, everything on paper about Gimmighoul makes sense. It's sensical that we have a Pokemon based on a mimic, and he looks like one. But when we are exposed to the mimic Pokemon, there is nothing to give us that vibe. He's just walking around and he's a teeny tiny little fella holding a coin. I'm actually more closely reminded of the Goblin Hoarder in Diablo 3. I forget what it's called, but if you haven't played Diablo 3, there is a random enemy that can show up, and it's a goblin, and he does this little cackle laugh so that you know he's here, and when you hear that laugh, it means that the treasure-hoarding goblin is nearby, and you have to kill it, and if you kill it, it drops a ton of loot, and while it runs away, it drops treasure. The way Gimmighoul is presented to the player the first time you find one, typically, that's what it looks like to me. Not a mimic, but a treasure-hoarding goblin, which wouldn't have actually been a bad idea. If that's what they'd wanted to do, I'd be okay with that, because treasure-hoarding goblin is kind of a thing. So, do that instead. I'm a little disappointed that the mimic Pokemon does not behave like a mimic outside of living inside of a treasure chest. It's nearsighted and wasteful. But these have just been my personal criticisms about Gimmighoul. At the end of the day, I know that Game Freak is doing their absolute best. They are working hard to bring us all new Pokemon, and I've said it before, the inclusion of any new Pokemon is not a bad thing, even if it doesn't quite meet our expectations. We're still given a whole new diverse range of mechanics and types and combinations and teams and everything else that comes with a new Pokemon game. But I'm just saying that the execution of Gimmighoul is a wasted idea, because it doesn't scream mimic to me when you encounter it in the game. He clearly is modeled after one, but he doesn't seem like one when you get there. And this isn't the first time something like this has happened in a Pokemon game. But I'm going to leave the decision-making up to you guys. You let me know what you think of Gimmighoul, and you leave a comment down in the comment section down below. Do you think it is actually a perfect recreation or inspiration of a mimic, or am I onto something? Is it more like a treasure-hoarding goblin than a mimic, or am I totally misguided? You let me know. In any case, this has been a relatively short video today where I just explained my grievances about Gimmighoul. If you enjoyed this content today, then make sure you give the video a like and subscribe, and also make sure to hit the bell icon so you can get instant updates anytime there's a new video and never ever miss out again. Anyways, Ragamuffins, thank you so much for watching the video today and making it to the end of the video. I will see you next time. Have a good one!